Hello, Empire. Have I mentioned how much I love you recently? Oh, let me count the ways.
I'm really not a super fan of Taylor Swift, no matter what this video makes you think.
During the intro, I decided there were way too many ways to count. It's a lot of love. So I am turning today into kind of Update Monday. Updating a couple stories I talked about last week. So I found out that the church in Florida did actually call off the Quran burning. So that's good. However, Westboro Baptist Church did actually go through with it. And evidently called Pastor Terry Jones evil and a false prophet for not going through with it. But at this point, people are finally actually starting to see Westboro Baptist Church for what it is. A cult. If you don't already know anything about Westboro Baptist Church, don't worry about it. I'm sure they'll be in the news sooner or later. There were also a lot of other people in the world that actually went through with it. I'm hoping it won't affect the radical Muslims enough to start a retaliation or anything like that. But I guess we'll see. I'm still glad it was called off. But mainly what I wanted to talk about today was a little bit more about our favorite douchebag. I know, you've had enough of Kanye, but just hear me out on this one. So I put up a video about Kanye West last week about his huge Twitter rant apology to Taylor Swift. If you haven't seen that, you have about 3 seconds to click here. Done! Well, Taylor Swift has finally reacted to Kanye West in the form of a VMA performance. That's right, she wrote a song and performed it live on the VMAs. Well, you know, as live as the VMAs get. Kanye West also performed, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, I didn't actually watch the VMAs, but as soon as I heard this went down, I had to go look up the performances. We shall start with Taylor Swift. Now I ask you, who can give a legitimate reason to hate Taylor Swift? Sure, I've heard people say she whines too much about the douchebags that she's dated, but honestly, she's turned that into some catchy music and people eat that stuff up. The song she wrote was called Innocent, and it's gonna make it even harder for people to say that they hate her. I mean, she's a young girl that writes and sings her heart out. Whether you like her music or not is irrelevant. It's like a nice old lady. Whether you would actually hang out with that sweet little grandma that only likes to talk about how much she absolutely loves her cats is irrelevant. It's still really hard to look at that lady and just want to punch a baby. It's basically the same thing. There's absolutely nothing degrading or negative in the song she wrote. It's alright, just wait and see. Your string of lights are still bright with me. Who you are is not who you've been. You're still an innocent. She's too nice! This guy embarrassed her to the point of being speechless in front of millions of people. I mean, she could have added something like, you really are a dick, but I forgive you. Even though your sorry's easy to see through. Who you are is, well, who you are. You're still a douchebag. No, because then people could hate her and talk about how she needs to be a better person. No, she's gotta be the nicest person ever. On the other hand, you have Kanye West, who performed Runaway. First, let's talk about the visuals. Taylor Swift came out barefoot in a white dress with her guitar and her band kind of dimly lit in the background. Low-key, toned down, very classy, very genuine, very real. Kanye West came out in a bright red suit and bright red shoes, drawing all the attention to himself that he could. I know it's just kind of his style, but it still kind of seems that it's just all about him. Even in his song, it's definitely not strictly to her. While she's mentioning how his string of lights is still bright with her, he's toasting douchebags, a-holes, and scumbags and talking about sending girls pictures of his hey! No, really, that's what he says in the song. I think Taylor Swift is great for making a real, genuine, classy, public I forgive you. But in the end, I think she should take Kanye's song's advice and run away as fast as she can. I'm still rooting for you, Kanye. Let's see how much you can change. And it looks like that's about all the time I have for today. I wanted to talk about something else, but I'll leave it for the Wednesday video. So I will see you on Wednesday, Empire. Thanks for watching. By the way, I know I've been slipping on replying to the comments. I'm sorry, I could make a bunch of excuses, but I know y'all wouldn't care about that anyway. So starting right now, I'm gonna start replying to all the comments I can. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook me, send me stuff I like. All that info is on my thingy. So click on my thingy. Do it now! Cliche YouTube phrase. I'm running out of different ways to say comment, rate, subscribe.